It's Money Monday, the segment where we talk all things financial with our good friend Phil Cooper, a financial advisor with 210 Financial. And today, Phil, we're doing things a little differently. Instead of one specific topic, I'm going to throw some scenarios at you, some real life ones. You're going to give us your financial advice, okay?
You got it.
First and foremost, we have Jessica. I'm a 34-year-old and work as a software engineer. I recently inherited $500,000 from a relative I wasn't particularly close with. It came as a complete surprise, and I still have about $25,000 in student loans. I don't have kids, and I make decent money, around $120,000 salary. I've always wanted to travel more and maybe even take a sabbatical, but I also want to be smart with the money. What should I do first?
Wow, Jessica was her name, right? Jessica, I think the best thing to do is to tell you to get out of debt first. Take some of that $500,000 and chop away at those student loans, because your interest on the student loans is probably higher. If you're a younger person, you probably were paying some higher interest rate on some student loans, so kill that first. But the magic was somebody who's only 34, you said, I believe? I think she was 34 years old. There's a rule in financial planning we like to follow called the rule of 72, Rashawn. It means this. You take the rate of return that you can get on your investments and divide that into 72, and it will tell you how long it takes for that money to double. So here's Jessica. She's got $500,000. She's 34 years old. I'm going to make up a rate of return. Let's say over a long course of time, she can get 7% rate of return on her money. That means every 10 years, 7 divided into 72, every 10 years that money's doubling. Well, now she's 44, she has $1 million. She's 54, she has $2 million. She's 64, she has $4 million. Her retirement is grand. Versus 34 years old, I'm going to go travel the world. Well, maybe that's a good idea, but maybe it's not. Go ahead and travel some, but what if we put a large chunk of that away to where now when you're 34, 44, 54 years old, you can travel the world as much as you want. Now, let me give you another quick lesson on that. Let's say she does this and she accumulates that $4 million bucket of money. Then there's a different rule. Now we call it the 4% rule. You add up how much she has in her bucket, you multiply it times 4%, that's how much she can safely pull out of that bucket for the rest of her life and never see it go down. So now she's 50-something years old, she's pulling $150,000, maybe $200,000 a year for the rest of her life, and she still always has $4 million. That's a different story than I was able to go on vacation every 2 or 3 months. That's a whole different story. That's legacy money. That's changing life money. That's chain breaking money. So my best advice is chop away at that debt, get it gone, but then take the rest and put it away and close your eyes to it. Your future will be so grand.
Well, there you go, Jessica. You could have a grand future. We have David next, right? David says, I'm 52 and only recently started taking retirement seriously. I've got about $80,000 saved, which I know isn't much, and I make $140,000 a year working in marketing. I like to retire by 65, but I feel really behind. What are my options?
Well, David is a bit behind if he wants to retire, because he's used to that great big salary. In order to have that kind of salary into the future, you're going to have a very large bucket of money, or possibly what we're telling people now is think about chapter 2. Don't consider chapter 1 closing and walking in retirement. What about chapter 2? What about taking, yes, for the next 13 years, I think you said he can accumulate. Go ahead now, begin a budget, take what you need to live on, put the rest away, and try to get your retirement bucket as big as you can. But what about chapter 2 at 65 or 67, where you say, maybe I don't want to do what I'm doing now, but I still have skills to use. I want to go into retirement and maybe do something part-time or a different field altogether, and use some of that income to augment your retirement. The other thing, by him delaying his retirement a little longer, he's going to get more on Social Security, because the way Social Security works, at 62 he's eligible, but every year you're eligible and choose not to turn it on, it's guaranteed to grow by 8% per year until you're age 70. So if he's going to delay till 67 or so, he's going to get what they call full retirement age. And then he can still have a part-time job, collect maximum Social Security or larger Social Security, and have a job. But between now and then, put as much away as he can, but consider working a little bit longer in the future too.
Nice, nice. Okay, next we have a couple.
Okay.
It says, my partner and I are both 32, and we're trying to retire by 45 together. Right?
Okay.
We make around $180,000, and we're saving close to 50% of our income. We're all in on the FIRE movement, and we're living below our means, investing heavily. Now, they're tracking every dollar, but sometimes they wonder, are they being too aggressive? What could they be missing?
Yeah. Are they being, let's answer that last question first. Are they being too aggressive? The question is, I'm guessing the question is, are we too aggressive with our investments or are we too aggressive with our savings plan? You're certainly not too aggressive with your savings plan. I can tell you that I've been doing this for about 28 years. And Rashawn, I'll guarantee the point or the statement no client has ever made to me ever. They never got out to retirement age and said, I have too much money.
Sounds
no
crazy.
one's ever said that.
What?
Ever. Kelly and I, my wife and I, have always had some discussions around money. We call those discussions in our home. And the discussion was never, how did we get all this money in our account? It's never been that, right?
Right. It's always been, where's it going?
Where'd the money go?
Yeah.
So are you too aggressive on your savings plan? No, there's always a place to spend it later. Even if you don't spend it, there's always a place to give it. Are you too aggressive on your investments? At 32 or 34 years old, no, you're not. I believe a 32-year-old who's got a 10 or 15-year window ahead of them should be taking on an aggressive approach to their investments. We jokingly say they ought to be eating risk for breakfast. The S&P 500 has returned some really good returns the last few years. You want to be capturing all of that you possibly can. Remember the first scenario we talked about, the person who potentially could get 7% a year for a long period of time? 32-year-old, maybe they can increase that considerably. If you do the math on that, that would drastically get them to their goals quicker. Now, the closer they get to 45 years old, that's money now that we're going to consider spending. Yes, now we want to do what we call a 3-bucket approach. Right now they have 1 bucket, trying to get that big bucket as big as they can. But when it comes time to spending some of that, go to a 3-bucket approach. Take some, go very conservative, some a little bit more moderate, some a little bit more conservative. But today, are they being too aggressive? I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Well, of course, Phil Cooper, we always appreciate your advice, your expert advice with that. Central Illinois, make sure you join us on October 6th for our next Money Monday conversation.